Rwanda is celebrating 20th commemoration of the end of genocide since, of course, they took over power in 1994. And it's a time, of course, to reflect on Rwanda's story of reconciliation and nation building and look to the future with hope, optimism, and a renewed commitment to agaciro, which they call dignity, self-reliance, and shared human values. That's, of course, the way Rwanda has described this celebration. And that will be a topic of discussion on Newsnight. Welcome, you're watching Newsnight with the old man of the clan, Andrew Mwenda, who's also the CEO of the Independent magazine. Andrew, a very good evening to you and thanks for joining us. Let's discuss this whole
Rwanda 20 years down the road.
20th celebration. But also I wanted us to look at the fact that this marks, the celebration itself marks 100 days, total, which is normally celebrated each year as the period of mourning. So the 100th day is normally the day to celebrate liberation. Just take us through the 20 years. Arise Rwanda, yes, which they called during the ADB summit.
So let me get out of opinion,
yes,
and go to fact. Because
many believe you still speak for the Rwanda government. So honestly,
I predicted one thing. Rwanda. I am close to President Paul Kagame. I also sit on his Presidential Advisory Council. And I relate
so let's yes, pick the side that is not
so that
advisory.
Yes. So, but I want to say, this morning I said, let me go and get statistics. I went to the IMF website, downloaded all the 191 countries and the figures of growth over the last 50 years. So I picked Rwanda. I said, what was Rwanda's rate of economic growth before RPF came to power? So I said, for the last 25 years, the performance of the Rwandan economy out of 191 countries for the last 25 years is number 75, average growth 4.5%. Then I said, let me remove the Habyarimana years and put the only RPF years.
94 to 2014.
94 to 2014, Rwanda has been the 17th fastest growing economy, no, 23rd fastest growing economy in the world at 6.5%. And then I said, let me put only the years of President Paul Kagame from January 2000 to the present day. Rwanda has been the 15th fastest growing economy in the world, and at an average growth rate of 7.7%. Then I said, okay, under this President Kagame's leadership, let me thrash out the numbers. Let me remove countries that have are producers and exporters of oil, because those have enjoyed a huge boom resulting from increased oil prices. So it may not be policy reform, it may not be good management, it is simply a good natural windfall that you have oil and therefore your economic growth is very high. Rwanda became the 5th fastest growing economy in the world. And then I said, in Africa, let me move the oil producers, and Rwanda becomes the 2nd fastest growing economy in Africa, minus the oil producers behind Ethiopia. So, on a figure from the IMF website, which is not subject to opinion, which is statistical fact, on the rate of growth, Rwanda has been an unmitigated and unprecedented success story.
What's that story? Just tell us, because you have a country like Rwanda that has little or no significant resource.
That's true.
Yes, to rely on, because there are pockets of gas.
It is 1,500 kilometers away from the coast.
The sea, yes.
From the sea.
Yes.
Three, geographically it has a very bad neighborhood.
True.
Congo, Burundi are always at war. True. And remember, although they are 1,500 kilometers from the sea, if you had trains and you had good roads, it has bad treacherous roads from Kenya through Uganda to Rwanda. So all the odds, yes, are against them.
So how is it possible? Yes, how is it possible that the tiny Rwanda of the 94s and having been raised in a school which was right next to the border, and I could hear the bombshells from 90 to 94. What happened? Because I did visit Rwanda in 94 when the war had just ended, and I've been back several times, and it's shocking when you see what has been done in the last 20 years, and you wonder where the other countries have been not to be able to achieve this. How have they done it?
This is the point most people miss. They think that Rwanda has a tyranny, despot who transforms the country. I tell you, it is difficult to reconcile people
unless
through tyranny.
Yes.
There must be consent for people to work very hard.
And what's this that is uniting the people of Rwanda?
There are two things that have defined post-genocide Rwanda. One is reconciliation. The RPF, upon taking power, made a deliberate decision that although we are military victors, we are not going to rule militarily, we are going to rule politically. And why? How did they approach that? We have a military victory, but we must rule politically. So they said we will respect the Arusha Accords of 1993, creating a government of national unity. So in Rwanda, in 1994, RPF entered the government with other major political parties in a government of national unity. It did not seek to monopolize power. In 2003, they wrote a constitution now which made it mandatory that no political party, however strong its electoral victory is, even if it won 99%, can never control more than 50% of the cabinet. 50% has to go to opposition parties. They also put in the constitution that the Speaker of the Rwanda Parliament and the President of the party cannot come from the President of the country, cannot come from the same party.
Yes.
Now even the Speaker of the President of the Senate and the President of the country and the Speaker of Parliament don't come from the same party. So by ensuring that they are able, A, to organize, to distribute political power across different political parties, they have been able to achieve a minimum degree of political consensus that has allowed these economic achievements to happen. The second thing they did is reconciliation. Not a single country, not even South Africa, can you find people who were at war with each other are working together in the same government. I'll give you an example. The executive assistant to the First Lady of Rwanda is a daughter of the former president of Rwanda during the genocide, Cindy Kubwabo. Cindy Kubwabo, when Habyarimana was killed, the president who came is called Cindy Kubwabo. He's the one who presided over the genocide. Habyarimana was dead. The daughter of Cindy Kubwabo is the executive assistant to the First Lady of Rwanda.
Yes.
2, the chief of police, rather the chief of prisons in Rwanda, was the commander of the rebel FDLR, General Rwarakabije. The deputy commander of the reserve force of Rwanda, General Jerome, was the chief of military intelligence of FDLR. If you look at the person who was the longest serving Minister of Defense in Rwanda for 10 years, from 2000 to 2011, a man called General Michel Gatsinzi. General Gatsinzi was the chief of staff of the Rwandan army during the genocide. And did you know that? He has been the longest serving Minister of Defense. So what the Rwandese have done, and what the world does not know, is this incredible ability to say, you are my enemy, now we are working in the same cabinet. Let me give you an important statistic. 55% of the total members of parliament of Rwanda are are women.
Yeah.
And of those, 54% are women, but 55% of those people are refugees who returned from Congo. These people had run with FDLR to Congo and were exiles.
Yes.
Those people RPF was fighting, who were in the Congo bushes, they constitute a majority of the parliament. So you can clearly see that this is a country where the leaders made the clear decision that it does not matter whether we fought and killed each other yesterday, today we can work together. But there is nothing that allows a political system to work than when you give people who thought they would be killed if they came back. You do not only give them a stake in power, but you give them actual power to be able to shape the destiny of the country. Look, do you know who wrote the national anthem of Rwanda today? He's dead. He's in jail for life. But they put a national competition to write a national anthem. The guy, this genocidaire, man who was a genocider, sentenced to life imprisonment in prison, wrote it, and he won the national competition. And
we really have run out of time, and this discussion can continue, but we cannot rule out the fact that the international community and the Western world
and human rights organizations
has ignored these successes, and human rights organizations has ignored these successes, and they continue to portray President Kagame as a despot and a dictator who has governed with a strong hand. And the reason why you have some successes, and which they call some successes, is because of the way he's done his thing. And you disagree because you believe it is a collective Rwandese agenda to grow their country.
Well, I could frame it like this. One, Rwanda has expanded political participation up to the lowest level of local government. You will find Rwandese participate in the affairs by electing their leaders and shaping their own destiny. Yeah, that is one.
Yes.
I cannot deny that there are aspects of the Rwandan government that exhibit authoritarian tendencies. That is true. But
and maybe that is the reason for the success. That the reason you have success in China is for the same thing, and the reason you have success in Rwanda.
That's the point I was going to make, that even those authoritarian aspects of President Kagame personally and RPF have been absolutely necessary, first of all, to ensure stability and security, but also to drive the kind of rapid economic change. And I don't think that Rwanda should be shy about the fact that there are aspects of its political life where there are restrictions precisely because Rwanda has a particular history. Do you think America is a police state? How come when you're going through airports in America, you go through a thorough border search? It's precisely because the history of terrorism has shaped a particular approach to security infrastructure in airports. Equally, the genocide in Rwanda has promoted particular political practices and policies and laws that to a person who comes from outside of Rwanda may say this is authoritarian. But those laws are absolutely necessary to ensure stability, security and peace.
Fantastic. And I'll hold it there for now, because I'm sure one day we'll come back to this discussion, probably Monday next week, when we look at the inside
Tuesday,
story.
we don't do this show on Monday.
Yeah, on Tuesday, sorry.
What
The
has
inside
happened to you?
story, the inside story on Tuesday. Well, that was Newsnight.